This is One on One. Hi, I'm Steve Adubato. I'm coming to you from the Tisch WNET studios at Lincoln Center. I'm sorry, but we'll just continue to do this because right now we have on the set Cory Michael Smith. He's an actor. He's at breakfast at Tiffany's on Broadway, playing at the Court Theater. How are you doing?
Yes, I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing great. The reason you threw me off is we were talking about the fact that in Breakfast at Tiffany's, originally Truman Capote, right?
Yes.
And the role that you play is Fred.
Fred.
And he's
the narrator of the play.
And a Southern writer.
And a Southern writer.
A la
Truman Capote.
Now, the reason we were laughing here is because you have a Southern accent
in the show, yeah. I use
That's
a Southern
not possible.
Dialect. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I actually, the last 4 plays I've done, I've had a dialect. New Hampshire, British.
Right.
Midwestern, Iowa.
Right.
And now Southern.
Now, I told you I'm from New Jersey.
Yeah.
Can you pull off a Jersey accent?
Well, one of my agents, the first time that I met him, I said, "Where are you from?" Because he was talking to Sarah. "Hey, Sarah," I said to my other agent.
Well, you were just making fun of the way he said Sarah.
I wasn't making fun of it. I was like, "Where are you from?" And everybody laughed in the room. He's like, "I'm from Jersey." It's kind of great. No, dialects are awesome. For me, it's the easiest way to, verbally start a character.
But you heard Sarah differently, didn't you?
Sarah. Ara. Sarah.
Georgette is getting irritated with me. She said, tell us about the show, because we can do dialects all day. You do a Bronx? No, I'm sorry. Tell us about Breakfast at Tiffany's. By the way, who's in your cast? You have some pretty talented people in the cast.
Yeah. Co-starring with me is Emilia, Clarke from Game of Thrones.
She's terrific.
On HBO. She is terrific.
There she is right there.
Oh, yes. Emilia
You couldn't find an attractive co-star?
Isn't she awful?
Yeah, she's terrible.
It's really unfortunate. The genetics.
Terrible.
She is lovely and stunning and sweet, and it's pretty easy to fall in love with her every night.
Yes, and she has a great accent too.
She does. She has a British accent because she is British.
And the other guy who's very hot in this is George.
Mr. George Wendt.
He's hot.
He is.
He's otherwise
Sexy
known as,
man.
in Cheers, Norm.
Yeah, he walks in. My first line in the play to him is Joe, because his name's Joe Bell. And I was tempted the first day of the rehearsal to just kind of holler out, and it's inappropriate to the scene, but to give him a la Cheers, an old shout of Joe.
For those who do not know the Breakfast at Tiffany's storyline, just set it up a little bit for people.
Yeah, well, most people are going to know the film.
Right. How's it different?
It's quite different. The film was sanitized, if you will, for the time that it was produced and for Hollywood. So they changed things a little bit. Holly Golightly, the character isn't quite as dark or outgoing. She's not as clearly a prostitute call girl as she is in the novella.
Every man wants to be with Holly.
Yes.
And every woman wants to.
And every woman, frankly,
wants to be with Holly.
Wants to be with Holly or be Holly. She does say in the play, she's like, she talks about being a dyke, and she does say dyke. That's not
We're
my
on public
term.
television.
I'm sorry.
I guess you can say that.
It is in the play. That's why I'm.
No, yeah, but you can.
But she talks about being a lesbian. She's
Yes.
like, well, of course I'm a little bit of a lesbian. Everyone is a little bit. So what?
And so there's nothing that's very sanitized in the play.
No, it's just earnest to what Capote intended. So essentially, what the story is doing, I take the audience. I start in 1957. I visit Joe Bell, who's George Wendt, and he's called me over to the bar because of Holly. I find out she's not back in town. There was just a picture of a statue that looks like her. I take from that, she's like pressed back in my mind, and I take everyone back to 1943 and share with the audience my short relationship with Holly. And so it's essentially a love story that's born of longing, because she's no longer in my life and I have no way of contacting her. And so it's, I was drawn to the story.
You were really drawn to it?
Because it's incredibly sad. It's really sad. No, I kind of love the idea of this man, 14 years, for 14 years.
Pining
over this woman, this enigmatic, ebullient lady that he cannot stop obsessing over or loving, so much that he, every night I get to, tell my story of her. And thank God Emilia is lovable, because my job would be so much harder if she was not.
See, it's not that hard.
Yeah. Well, it's it's easy to look.
Exactly. This is your Broadway debut.
It is.
Describe your career up into this.
It's been predominantly theater. I graduated from college 3.5 years ago, and moved.
You too? Me too.
Really? Oh my God. Same age. That's
See?
cool.
Isn't it great?
Yeah. So I moved here 3.5 years ago, and
Did you know this was it? Okay, let me put it the other way. When did you know that this was what you wanted to do? That you wanted to act, and you wanted to act in theater, and you wanted to act ultimately on Broadway. When did you know? How young were you?
This wasn't like a definitive choice for me. We hear all the time. We heard through college, if this is the only way to be an actor is if this is the only thing that you could ever do, the only thing you could ever see yourself doing, because it's just that hard to survive this industry. And I always heard that, and I understood at least the degree of the passion that you had to have to pursue this, the intensity and like the devotion, the fortitude, whatever. But what I never understood, I have so many other interests. And so I came to the city very determined to like give this my A effort. But with the understanding that there's a certain kind of career that I want and that I'm willing to have. And I told myself if I don't feel like that's in my future, if that's not what was happening, there are plenty of other things that I find incredibly exciting.
You know how many actors are very upset with you right now?
No, but I think it's why I like acting is because I get to study a bunch of different things. Every time I take on a new role, it's a new person that has new interests, that has a new occupation, profession. I kind of like the idea of this ever-changing route of study. It's like constantly being in university.
You love it, but you're not living and dying for it.
I absolutely do. I spend all day, every day.
No. I didn't mean that
like
in terms
this.
of working hard.
Oh.
No, I didn't mean that at all.
But acting?
But you didn't go into this saying, I have to do this or my life isn't going to be valuable. I mean,
No, what was most important to me was in college, I almost dropped out of acting a couple times because I wanted to make sure that what I was doing was something extremely worthwhile. You know, my issue with going into, I had trouble deciding an occupation or a career because I didn't know the best way that I could contribute myself in a way that I'd be fulfilled and actually feel like I'm making a difference or participating in the world in a positive and an influential way.
How the heck did you get this healthy?
Parents? I don't know.
Where'd
Maybe.
you grow up?
Ohio.
Okay.
Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
No, so
It's making a lot of sense.
No, but it's like I like doing meaningful theater. Up until this point, I've done some more risque pieces. This is more along the lines of being traditional and classic for me, in terms of my interests. But I love the history of this, and that's why I'm kind of drawn.
We plug it one more time. Breakfast at Tiffany's. Cory Michael Smith. Where can it be seen? At the Court.
Court Theater.
Do you know where it is exactly?
It's on 48th Street, just east of Times Square.
I just want to test you. Cory, thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks for having me, man.
Stay tuned. Steve Adubato from the Tisch WNET studios at Lincoln Center. We'll be right back right after this.
One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating 25 years of broadcast excellence in partnership with St. Joseph's Healthcare System. Funding has been provided by Hackensack University Health Network, Sun National Bank, New Jersey Natural Gas, United Water, County College of Morris, the Merck Company Foundation, and by Fedway Associates, Inc. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area.